Hi everyone, welcome to the Celebrity Diaries. We jump into a story that sent shockwaves through the core of the congregation and past it's an embarrassment so hazardous that it broke the picture of perhaps America's most noticeable pastors. Bishop Eddie Long, a strong figure known for his magnetic messages and impact, ended up at the focal point of a discussion that raised inquiries regarding confidence, sexuality, and the power elements inside the congregation. This is an account of treachery, recovery, and the battle for truth, even with overpowering lip service. Don't miss it. Eddie Lee Long was brought into the world on May 12, 1953, and on the off chance that you've at any point looked into zodiac signs, you'd realize he was a Taurus. I had a feeling about that. He experienced childhood in Charlotte, North Carolina, in a family that esteemed confidence, as his folks were Reverend Floyd Long and Haiti Long. Subsequent to completing secondary school, Eddie sought after advanced education at North Carolina Focal College, where he procured a 4-year certification in business organization. His profession started off in the corporate world, filling in as a salesman for Passage Engine Organization. And anyway, his time at Passage didn't end well. He was given up after errors on his cost reports became known, which showed he could have been a piece precarious with the numbers. After this difficulty, he made a major, life-altering event and moved to Atlanta to concentrate on philosophy. In 1981, Eddie Lee Long sealed the deal with a lady named Deborah Houston. Anyway, their marriage took a dim turn. Court archives acquired by different news sources uncovered that Deborah blamed Eddie for being awful and communicated fears about his savage attitude. Reports showed that he even turned out to be actually forceful toward her during their marriage, including an especially disturbing occurrence when she was 7 and 1/2 months pregnant with their child Edward. In the wake of persevering through quite a long while of this pained relationship, the couple in the end isolated, driving Eddie to seek legal separation. Their separation was finished in 1985, and the court granted authority of their child to Deborah, while Eddie was allowed appearance privileges each and every end of the week. In 1987, Eddie Lee Long assumed the job of chief minister at New Birth Evangelist Baptist Church, a critical step that would shape his future. Only 3 years after the fact, he wedded a lady named Vanessa. What's more, together they invited 3 youngsters into their family. New Birth Church isn't simply any congregation. It sits on a rambling 240-section land complex found right outside Atlanta, making it a prominent milestone nearby as the head of this enormous gathering. Cleric Long turned out to be notable for his blend of social traditionalism, an emphasis on material riches and love, and being a blunt enemy of gay messages. His lessons acquired gigantic fame, being communicated in more than 170 nations, which assisted him with coming to a worldwide crowd. Cleric Long frequently hobnobbed with VIPs and political figures, similar to his kindred minister priest T.D. Jakes, who we examined in a past video. Minister Eddie Long was known for teaching the thriving gospel, frequently alluded to as name it and guarantee it. This sort of teaching recommends that adherents can bridle the force of the essence of God to accomplish their longings, counting riches and great well-being, which God probably awards to those he inclines toward. His engaging message about success grabbed the eye of many, including famous people, proficient competitors, and socialites who were attracted to his lessons. Truth, the New York Times noticed that his congregation turned out to be so well known among youthful dark singles that it acquired the moniker Club New Birth. A considerable lot of these youthful people were anxious to meet new individuals and interface, frequently wanting to bond over book of scriptures studies and get-togethers. Cleric Eddie Long fabricated an immense, strict, and monetary domain from the ground up, changing his congregation into a critical foundation under his initiative. New Birth Preacher Baptist Church fostered a multi-million-dollar organization that included different causes, organizations, a tuition-based school, and, surprisingly, a well-being and wellness focus. In this wellness focus, he frequently worked out alongside young fellows from his assembly, igniting a lot of conversations about the nature of their associations. He was known for posting selfies in close-fitting shirts that frequently passed on little to the creative mind, which some found very diverting, particularly when he was conveying lessons in the lectern. To top it off, length, he partook in a lavish way of life, driving a Fire 150,000 Bentley and buying a staggering $1 million home for his family in 2005, he had a flair for showy extras, frequently donning gold pieces of jewelry, Rolex watches, and spandex shirts that featured his amazing body as diocesan Ed. Dai Long's congregation acquired consideration. The media began to research his funds all the more completely. A columnist from the Atlanta Diary-Constitution revealed some stunning subtleties, uncovering that the priest got up to $3 million from the congregation and its connected foundations. More than a 3-year length. This caused a stir and prompted inquiries regarding the church's monetary practices. When stood up to about these enormous installments, priest Long offered a strong expression, said, "We're not only a congregation, we're a global company. I minister a multi-million-dollar assembly." This reaction featured his conviction that the congregation worked like a business as opposed to only a position of love. His sure statement underlined the scale and desire of New Birth Preacher Baptist Church, yet it additionally powered further investigation about how reserves were being utilized inside the association. Wow! Thanks me to Uberture, 20 individuals, making it perhaps one of the biggest gatherings in the country. He was hobnobbing with legislators in any event, getting welcome to the White House, and had laid out a worldwide TV service that spread his lessons all over. Priest Long felt a unique calling to interface with men, driving him to compose a few books, including one named Combatant, The Strength of a Man, which was expected to rouse men to become champions for God. Anyway, underneath this achievement, something appeared to be disturbing him. As per a report from CNN, when a guest asked him to share his encounters as a high-profile minister, he secretively answered, "You don't need any of this. You don't need any of this reaction." This left many confounded, bringing up issues about the tensions he looked at while his gathering saw him as dependable. Certain individuals, outside the church, started to see an alternate, more hazardous side to the minister. It's not shocking that Priest Eddie Long turned to the good book to clarify serious areas of strength for him. For homosexuality, he was exceptionally vocal and unashamed in his judgment of the LGBTQ local area, clarifying where he stood. This infers something my grandmother used to say, "A hit canine will holler," implying that the individuals who feel regretful frequently respond the most intense each time. Cleric Long settled a service, pointed toward assisting individuals with getting some distance from homosexuality. He appeared to dig his heels in much more profound on his convictions as opposed to opening an exchange or showing sympathy. He supported his perspectives, which just increased the discussion encompassing his position as he kept on zeroing in on these services. It brought up issues about his inspirations and whether he was truly attempting to help other people or basically attempting to state his own convictions, all the more strongly. In 2004, Priest Eddie Long played a noticeable job in the reigniting the inheritance walk which he drove. Close by, Reverend Bernice Lord, the girl of the notable social equality pioneer Dr. Martin Luther Lord G. Reverend Bernice Ruler was additionally a senior at New Birth Church, making their association huge. The primary reason for this walk was to help an established correction that planned to characterize marriage rigorously as the joining between one man. What's more, one lady. During this occasion, Cleric Long didn't stop at pushing for customary marriage. He likewise pushed for a public prohibition on gay marriage. The walk begun in an exceptionally representative manner when Reverend Bernice Lord lit a light at her dad's grave, the unbelievable specialist Martin Luther Ruler Jr. She then gave that light to diocesan Eddie Long, who gladly conveyed it during the 2-mile venture through the city. The second was strong as it associated the battle for social liberties with the contemporary issues of marriage and family values. You may be inquiring as to why they picked Dr. Ruler's gravesite as the gathering point for this occasion. Well, it just so happens this choice is very intricate. For a long time, moderate group bunches have attempted to reshape Dr. Ruler's inheritance to line up with their own political plans. They frequently neglect the more extensive, more comprehensive messages he represented, and one second thought center around a thin understanding that backings their perspectives. When we check out at the present conversations around race and incorporation, it's stunning to see examples like one school in Washington state arranging a day with no white understudies permitted on grounds this conflicts with everything Martin Luther Lord Jr. represented, which was tied in with uniting individuals and advancing fairness. Strangely, previous U.S. President Ronald Reagan was perhaps the earliest conspicuous figure to take Specialist Lord's message and bent to fit moderate thoughts, He frequently cited Dr. Lord's renowned line about passing judgment on individuals by the substance of their personality. The notorious "I have a fantasy" discourse. Reagan utilized this to contend against governmental policy regarding minorities in society and racial recruiting quantities, proposing that Dr. Lord imagined a partially blind society where these actions weren't required. However, this point of view causes a commotion. It appears to be disconnected from statements by somebody like Reagan. Thanks for watching this video.